How goes the family? Welcome back to Patterson Properties. Hope you guys having a great and exceptional day. All right, so doing something a little different today. I found two articles that talked about basically celebrities and their homes. And one thing that's not, I don't think that's talked about enough is the economic moves that celebrities make, especially even from a real estate perspective. I remember talking about last time I was on about how Morris Chestnut, one of my favorite actors growing up, the main thing that's kept him whole and stabilized when he's not quote unquote working as an actor, he says, was buying rental properties and even buying rental properties in the area where the value of real estate has gone up. So if he didn't want it anymore, he was able to just get rid of it just like that, get his money back with a profit on top. So become a successful businessman in that aspect. And because he said something I didn't realize. He says, as an actor, you're mostly unemployed. You're constantly looking for another job. And it's kind, in a sense, it's kind of like most workers nowadays. For the last 20 years in the United States of America, working at a job for more than 3 years hasn't been the thing, especially for the young generation. It started with my generation, us 80s babies. And I can just imagine the children who were born in the 90s, early 2000s, the ones fresh out of college, fresh out of the military, going into the military. These are people that are not looking to, basically work for one particular employer for the rest of their life, or even work for two particular employers for the rest of their life. And I understand that completely because, it's just a different time that we're living in, at the end of the day. And the days of pensions is over with. And, we live in the era of 401k. So therefore, you have a 401k and an IRA, you can just roll it over. So the whole staying faithful to one organization for too long, it's just basically become a thing of the past. And is there anything wrong with that? I don't see that. But a lot of people will disagree, especially people who are of the older generation and believe in, being able to stay faithful. A lot of people still believe in a job like they believe in marriage or just a relationship as a whole, the concept of being faithful. And I think my personal opinion is when it comes to a job, I think you're supposed to be faithful up to a point. It's not a relationship, it's a contract. That's the best way to look at it. A lot of people where they live at, it's not a community, it's a neighborhood. So therefore they're only looking to be there for a certain amount of time, a limited amount of time until they go on to the next venture in life. A lot of people who are served in the military, people who are federal law enforcement agents, they move around a lot. That's one thing that they have in common. They get stationed to various different areas, like FBI. Like, so say if you're a U.S. Marshal, FBI agent, DEA agent, it's normal for you to get stationed from either various parts of the world or various parts of the United States of America, especially with the DEA. FBI, most likely they're going to be and U.S. Marshals, definitely they're going to be stationed or they're going to be sent else. So they could be in Oklahoma City one day, they could be in Washington, D.C. the next day. They could be in Seattle, Washington one day, they could be in Detroit, Michigan the next day. You just never know. So it's just the same, and it's the same thing with military. You could be in you could be in Germany one day, you could be in Mississippi the next day, so it just depends on the situation. So and that is basically where a lot of American workers are at right now, especially people who are truck drivers, people who work in transportation industry on all levels, some warehousing, people who work in the oil industry. I mean, you wouldn't believe that many Americans live in Canada because they work in the oil industry, or how many people move to Alaska because of the oil industry. They might be from Georgia, they might be from California, but they go where the work is at. So it's just one of those things that we all have to take into consideration. So, but anyways, let me get to the article. Of course, my computer wants to act funny, so I'm just going to read it off my cell phone to keep it simple. But don't forget Patterson Up Properties. Um, we wholesale real estate throughout the DMV area and within the hour radius of Philadelphia, Lebanon, Pennsylvania, Reading, Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Allentown, Pennsylvania. So I always have to remind people of that. But anyways, it is what it is. So at the end of the day, this article came out. Ashanti, grew up watching Ashanti. I can't believe it's been 20 years now since she officially came out. She came out a year after I graduated high school. So it was around 2002, 2003 time frame with the INC record label. Great singer. I remember one of my friends, he was very enamored with her growing up. Beautiful woman. Probably could have been a great actress if she would have continuously pursued it, but she's from Long Island, um, New York. And a buyer has reportedly, as of May, has reportedly cashed in on Ashanti's 2-acre Old Westbury property in Long Island, New York. The six bedroom, 5.5 bathroom brick neo-colonial mansion has been on the market for a year, and now real estate sites reportedly show a pending sale for $2.5 million. The 42-year-old singer was born and raised in Glen Cove, Long Island, where the mansion was built in 1999. She snagged it in 2003 for $1.95 million. And so she, for the most part, she made a little bit of, I mean, in theory, unless she took out a bunch of mortgages on the property, she got a little bit of a profit on this house. I think if she would have tried to sell, I remember the house actually went on the market last year. But I think if she would have tried to sell this house in 2021, I think she would have made way more money. But that's just the only reason why I say that is because in 2021, you remember when the world finally opened up and people were able to sell houses, you know, it was a seller's market at the time. Now, for the most part, it's a buyer's market because of not many people are looking to move. Not many people can afford to move. Not many people are looking to sell their houses. And then the ones that are, the prices that they're asking for are egregious because they're trying to make a profit because, one, it's not a big incentive because when a lot of people did the smart thing like I did, they refinanced their homes. Refinanced their homes when the interest rates are very lower compared to right now. Because the interest rates are higher, if you sell your house now, yeah, you might make a profit, but all that money 9 times out of 10, unless you're rich, you're a regular working person, it's going to end up going into you buying another home with a higher interest rate, meaning that you're going to be paying a higher mortgage every month. So that's just the world that we live in right now. But anyways, the home as a whole has a circular driveway, leads to the colonial that features a brick foundation surrounded by lush greenery. A luxurious chandelier dangles from the ceiling. Chandelier dangles from the ceiling at the entrance before approaching 2 entryways on both sides of the home. One side leading to the living room, family rooms, and other holding dining area. 2-floor, 2-ceiling columns grace the entrance of a titled kitchen, which features stainless steel appliances. A spiritual staircase leads to the 2nd floor, which holds bedrooms and bathrooms. French doors lead to the backyard, where a pool awaits the outdoor patio area. Sealed by large brown doors, the keys to mansion are ready for a new owner. Ashanti originally listed her home for $2,198,000. $2.198 million as reported by Dirt in 2022. The artist was at the height of her popularity when she purchased a home years ago. News about Ashanti's listings follows rumors about the singer's recently rekindling her romance with rapper Nelly. The pair began dating. The pair began dating in 2003. The same year, and this is how much I pay attention to celebrities. This is because I never knew that Ashanti and Nelly were dating and have kids with each other. Same year, Ashanti bought her new former mansion and dated on and off before calling it quits in 2013. So at the end of the day, hey, I'm talking about this because more power to Ashanti. I'm not, because I remember making a video about Nelly selling his home. And it wasn't, some people took it as me being negative about Nelly selling his home. And then some other people was like, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Because here's the thing, because even Snoop Dogg downgraded his house that he had at one time. Eventually, I think, especially as you get older and become empty nesters, no matter how rich you are. I mean, look at Warren Buffett. He lives a very simple life, living in a nice small home in Omaha, Nebraska. And my mindset is, hey, at the end of at this point in life, you have to say, hey, to yourself, hey, do I really need this property? Is it really worth it? Now that she's rekindling her marriage, when I say marriage, but her relationship with Nelly, hey, she might say, I'm going to move to Missouri, where the weather sucks just as bad as it does in New York, but at least the property taxes are way lower. The cost of living is way lower. If they decide to get a house together, they'll be able to get a nice house for less money than what she sold this property for. One, and then two, it have way more space. So because it's the Midwest, a lot of land, you know what I mean? So I don't see that as a bad thing. And I wish her nothing but the best of luck in this whole situation because, hey, at the end of the day, I like to see everybody. If you can be happy, then be happy and call it a day. You know what I mean? So I'll leave it at that. But it was definitely an interesting article. And like I said, I wish Ashanti the best of luck. Her and Nelly the best of luck because they're from my, I like to call when they basically first came out, those were my like last years in high school. When Nelly first came out, when Ashanti first came out, because she was with Ja Rule. And Nelly, Country Grammar, and then it was Hot. He had other hit songs and things of that nature. Hot in Here, Andele Mama Ia Ia Oh. So Midwest Swing, him and the St. Lunatics. So I wish everybody the best of luck in this life, because like I said, to me, the smart celebrities are the ones who are not only making money moves, but they're having not only doing a great job of what they do in their profession, but especially because Ashanti still tours, she still does because I believe that, I believe, and this is as of quoting Irv Gotti, Ashanti does not own her masters, so therefore, I think she barely gets paid any money or no money off of her music from the past. Number one, the number two, and whether it's right or wrong, it's business. Like a lot of people will say, well, that's wrong, but all I can say is, hey, did you read the contract? It's like a lot of people will complain about the terms of the release, but did you read the lease? So a lot of people will complain about the terms of the contract that they signed, but did you read the contract? It's like, dude, it's not about right or wrong. It's about is it legal? Yes, and then that's what it is. You can love it or hate it, but it is what it is. All right, so this other article that I read the other day, which was very, very, very interesting. Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, and this was as of July 2023, and it's July 20th, 2023. Today is July 22nd. So anyways, Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, I grew up watching both of these actors and actresses. I didn't realize that they actually were a couple until we're reading this article today. But they had a former home in Manhattan, and it was priced at $7.4 million. I can believe that because it's Manhattan, man. Like I said, New York City, San Francisco, New York City, all the major cities in California, specifically San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles, San Diego, Oakland, California, Miami, Florida, the most expensive cities in the United States of America, and you got other cities that are catching up with them, like Nashville, Tennessee, Austin, Texas. The only difference is they just don't have the egregious taxes, But anyways, they had an 8-room cooperative apartment on the 12th floor of a dignified 14-story pre-war apartment house on New York's Fifth Avenue, infused with a panoply of colors and sprinkled with a bit of Hollywood fairy dust, is ready for its walk down the real estate red carpet. Newly listed with Karen Kelly at Compass at $7.4 million monthly maintenance charges for 3,000 square foot Carnegie Hall residents ring up to more than $9,600 per month. All right. Back in 1997, then married, the showbiz couple, Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid, handed over $3.1 million for a 3-bedroom, 3.5-bath spread that boosts 6 oversized windows that frame head-on views that stretch clear across Central Park and the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis Reservoir. There are 7 more windows with oblique park views. As noted in the New York Post, Quaid and Ryan's son, Jack Quaid, lived in the apartment for a few years before they split up. The former couple sold the place in 2001, years following their divorce, reportedly for around $6.75 million. So they bought the place. Let's go back. They sold it for $6.75 million, and they bought the place for $3.1 million. So unless they they went crazy with mortgages and whatnot. They sold this place at a profit. I don't see that as a bad thing. I think that's a beautiful thing, and especially I'm sure that they had to split the profits and then pay the the tax on the profits from that sale. But the real that it is what it is, and I don't see that. And the fact that now that the apartment is being sold for more than what they actually sold it for says a lot right there. So nice place. No more reason for me to get into any more details, but it just goes to show that, because a lot of people will say that's expensive. But to quote Fat Joe, sometimes I like what he says, sometimes I disagree with what he says, but that's a beautiful thing. Yesterday's price has nothing to do with today's price. All right, remember that. And if you are a person who grew up in California, in New York, and your family members had real estate and you held on to it in the last 20 years, I'm not even going to say the last year, and the last 20 years, you would have profited tremendously, or even to be just more reasonable. In the last 10 years, from 2013 till now, especially if you're selling any of those properties now, if you've had properties that were handed down from generation to generation, you could turn yourself into a millionaire as of July 2023. So now, do the great three things: like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. As I always say, make money moves, or you're going to live, bro, like a fool. Take care.